Alright, I just got back from watching Minions and Monsters, and while overall I enjoyed the movie, there are a couple of things that I feel like I need to share. So this movie actually takes place 41 years before the first Minions movie, and it actually follows a different Minion tribe than the one that we're all used to. Their goal is still the same, to serve a great villain, but the movie chooses to focus on two specific minions, James and Henry, and we learn at the beginning of the movie that they shaped or reshaped cinema history. We follow the minions until they eventually make their way onto a Hollywood production, which kicks off the rest of the film about them making a monster movie. Overall, I think the movie is good. Obviously, I'm not the target audience, but I think kids will really love it, and I think there's enough in here for adults to love it as well. I also like that they chose the 1920s time period. There are a lot of moments in this movie that are nods to old movies. If you know a lot about cinema and you're a big cinephile and you've watched a lot of movies, including those from years ago, you should recognize a lot of moments that happen throughout the movie that are callbacks to those actual movies, including this funny nod to Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times, where he gets stuck in a factory machine. It's just hilarious and really funny and well done. Now, there were a couple of moments in the movie that did cause me to pause, including one particular thing that I'll get into. But overall, there's going to be a lot of violence, when it comes to minions. They're always fighting each other, destroying stuff. So that's expected. But I do feel like they kind of amped it up just a little bit. There's literally a scene where someone gets decapitated, which was in the trailers and it was shown throughout the trailers. That's kind of in your face and really out there. There was also another scene that was promoted in the trailers with one of the minions who's dressed as a clown and putting on lipstick, but then throughout the process finds himself in a thong, right? And again, because of the time period that we're living in, you kind of have to just pause and wonder was this really necessary? And yes, there is a magical conjuring scene where the minions conjure one of the monsters. And so if that's something that you are highly against and you don't want your kid to experience or see anything that may be supernatural, magical, witchcraft, sorcery, then yeah, you may not want to take them to see this movie. However, there was one scene that really caught my attention that I felt like I needed to bring up. About halfway through the movie, you get introduced to this other character who's a villain who the minions, want to be with and serve. But he ends up meeting a lady and he kind of falls in love. And so the minions follow him as he's having this relationship and going on these dates with this woman. Well, on one of the dates, they're at an Italian restaurant. And what's played for gags and laughs is the minions are devouring a huge tower of spaghetti and meatballs. And it is funny. But what I noticed was at the top of the mound of spaghetti, there were two minions who were kind of having this Lady and the Tramp moment where they're eating from the same strand of spaghetti and eventually their lips lock. And the movie kind of lingered there for a second. That again, because of the time period that we're living in, also the fact that the minions are all boys, you just have to wonder and think, was this done intentionally? And for me, it's kind of hard for me not to think that it wasn't. But other than that, I think this is a solid movie. I would give it a 7 out of 10, and I'll let you decide whether or not you want to go see it. And for parents out there, whether or not you want to take your kids to go watch it. But those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Give us a like, subscribe if you aren't subscribed. And as always, I appreciate you guys. God bless.